Hello, hello. This is Sheri from the Sheri Kaye Hoff Show, where we focus on living joyfully and successfully in your life and business. You can find us at sherikayhoff.com. That's SherikayEHoff.com. My guest, Rosa Rodriguez, is a business coach, but before becoming a coach, she worked in the finance and accounting industry for over 15 years. She helps mompreneurs build their own high-ticket coaching program, even if they're still working a 9 to 5, so they can live life on their terms. Hi, Rosa. I'm so happy you're here today. I'm excited to kind of unpack everything that you have to offer for our people that are listening. So, how are you? How's your day going?
Good. Thank you so much for having me, Sheri. I really appreciate you doing this.
Well, I know that you work with mompreneurs. And so tell me a little bit about your story, how you went from your career to what you're doing right now, and kind of, the fun stuff, like the family stuff that makes you drive your decision making and things like that. People love to hear that.
Yeah. I first got into coaching after having lost my dad back in 2014. That was kind of like the thing that pushed me to look for something more. So I was working in corporate. I have been in finance and accounting for about 15 years. And I had always worked for these big corporations. And once that happened, that kind of shook my world. It was something that just started helped me kind of like understand what is my purpose in the world. And I had my son at the time, so I started just to create like an exit strategy. I didn't leave my job right away. But I started to put myself out online. I started sharing thoughts, and I started to attract an audience because I was just sharing like raw emotion. I was going through a grieving process, and because I was just posting, I was literally just like creating quotes and just sharing information online. And people started to be attracted to my journey of healing. And eventually, as I found my way, right, I started like looking through how I can learn more and put my skills to use. And eventually I started using what I learned in the business to actually help people online. So, I said, well, I have all these skills, right? How can I actually put it to use in the coaching world? So that's where it all started.
Wow, I love that. I love that you started, with a message first, and that, then it kind of fell into a business. So you weren't going, okay, how can I make money? How can I do this? How can I do that? It was more like the inner soul of you coming out and
Yeah.
reaching these people. And I just think that's beautiful. That's, that.
Yeah, because it wasn't something that I was trying, it wasn't something that I figured out, like planned out. I just said, I have to somehow share this. And that's how it or kind of like organically happened. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
I love that. I've coached and worked with so many people who that is how their business unfolded. They actually weren't really business people. A lot of them didn't have any sort of business background, but just found that love, that thing that they really love to do and love to share, and then it turns into something beautiful. So
Yeah.
I know that you work with mompreneurs, helping them create a high ticket coaching program. So first let's talk about what is a mompreneur, because I know the term is thrown around a little bit. So
Yeah.
what's a
So to me, a mompreneur is a mom who has a business, or like a mom who is an entrepreneur. And I know that we've named it mompreneur as for short. But it's really a mom who is a business owner. And sometimes, we share the word mompreneur, I think, just to be able to connect with women who are already using the term. But I don't think that it shouldn't take away from, like, you're a business owner, right?
Mhm.
You are, and you are a mom, which you don't have to be one or the other. You can do both. And I think that's why we use the term together.
Right, right. I remember when I started my business in 2007, one of course I had a mission and, knew what I wanted to do, but a big part of it for me was freedom of schedule. Not that I
Mhm.
wouldn't have work to do and be busy, but that I could be the carpool mom, that I could be, the cheer mom who drove the girls places. I could work
Mhm.
my schedule around those kinds of things. And it's strange because it was like I realized when my daughters were teenagers, they needed me more than when they were little kids, even because those teenage years are so chaotic. And so I'm really thankful
Mhm.
that, I had, and my son was actually very young when I started um, completely just doing my own business from home in 2007. But yeah, I would never say, oh, I wish I would have made a different choice. It's like, it's been
Yeah.
an amazing, over, what is it, 2023, 16 years? Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, yeah. I'm not sure I did the math right on that, but oh well. It's kind of a surprise. It feels like sometimes I just started it yesterday. But okay, so now that we understand mompreneurs, what we mean by that, and you specifically work with people to help them charge a high ticket item. So
Yeah.
give me some examples of that. Like what would be a high, give me maybe a business example and what would be
Yeah.
a high ticket item as
Yeah.
opposed
And
to a low ticket item.
right. So, I started off with a low ticket item. So I started off with just like taking clients and charging them per session. Like I was charging maybe like $100 per session or $200 per session. And that was a low ticket item because, you could have one client that comes in one time and then, they don't have, the consistency, right? So if you have clients that way, like, it can be really overwhelming, especially for a mom. So you can fill your schedule with a bunch of calls, and it's never really enough to support a family or to leave your full-time job if you're working right now. And it was for me, like, I was taking clients, but I didn't have enough. Like, my coaching clients were not like so much. It wasn't making enough that I was like saying, okay, now I can leave my job and I can support my family with this. So I got into the high ticket space when I met a coach that kind of like, he showed me the way. So it was very important for me to, I had done courses and all these things before. But when I got a coach, when I got a mentor, that's when I realized, oh, you know what? This is more convenient for me because if I can take one client or two clients per month that are, let's say, from $3,000 and up, or that would be a lot easier for me to get to my goal every month than it would be for me to take 5 to 10 clients, which could be a little bit overwhelming, especially for a mom. And for you to have that freedom to be able to have that schedule that we talked about, that is ideal for us to be able to do what we want. It is important for us to charge a high ticket price, and to be able to charge that high ticket price, obviously. And you know about this, you have to create an offer that is worth that much.
Right.
So yeah, so that's really important.
So why are mompreneurs resistant to this idea of high ticket?
Yeah, so mompreneurs and I feel like women in general are a little bit more modest with their pricing. I have and most of the time is like being able to say your price. And a lot of times people say like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with that. I'm not sure if I can say to someone like, I'm going to charge you $3,000 for 3 months, or and although it's not even like it's not a high ticket item when you think about it. If you meet with somebody on a weekly basis, for example, is like it's not that much. But if for them to say the price is just hard. And I think that comes with the mindset, that comes with like what society has taught us, growing up. Like it depends with what your beliefs are. And I in my program, that's one of the things that I address first. Like, okay, you want to charge a high ticket price, but can you confidently say it, say your price, say what you are really worth, because you are. So it's important to learn that confidence piece at the beginning.
Right, because no matter what you charge, you have to believe it when you say it. Because if you don't
Right.
believe it, that comes across in your energy. So getting to the point
100%.
where, yeah, you really believe it is so important. And,
Yes.
sometimes it's just practice saying it out loud. Sometimes it's tapping, it's,
Yeah.
meditating, it's writing affirmations, it's really getting to that point where you totally believe that price. And
Right.
yeah, and people can even muscle test um, and see if they believe their price. So
Right.
I think it's really great that you tackle that right away in the beginning.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so let's talk about the importance. It kind of is sort of the same lines of being hesitant, but why is it so important? And you started talking about um, being able to have a sustainable business. And it's just not
Yeah.
sustainable unless you want to work 60, 70 hours a week or more doing
Right.
one-off clients, for an hour here, 2 hours there. So besides that, why is it so important for us to charge our worth?
Um, for us, I mean, as a mom, I feel like it gives me more confidence to know that I have, that I can charge a premium price, but that I can find clients that are interested in something that I'm offering at that price. So, like for example, my first high ticket client, that I was kind of like surprised that I was able to get that client. And it happened organically. Like, we connected through an interview, and I said, "This is how much I charge," and she was like, "Okay." And I feel like I was surprised that she had said okay to this. And that moment changed me and gave me confidence to say, to believe in myself, to believe that there are people out there. If there's one person who is willing to pay for this, there are people out there who believe in what I have and who can see the worth of what I'm in my offer, who can see the thing that I'm offering is valuable. So if they can see it, why not me? Like, why haven't I been believing in myself this way when there are people out there who see me this way, who see my value? And sometimes and especially in the beginning, we feel like nobody's watching, right? We are out there showing up, and we don't get maybe a lot of engagement on social media. We don't get a lot of eyes. We don't get a lot of comments, but there's always someone watching. And if you continue to believe in yourself and continue to speak about the thing that you're selling with confidence, people for sure are going to see that in you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's so important to recognize that there's an ideal client fit for you, with a person. There's that ideal client there. We're not out there trying to get everybody. We're out there getting the people working
Right.
with us who are meant to work with us. And
Yes.
and that's a whole different, it takes down the temperature a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I say to people, you can't go out there feeling desperate, like I have to get a client or I have to do this, I have to do that. When you have
Right.
that confidence that what I offer is the exact match for my ideal client. So,
Yep.
I love all this and, how helpful this is for anybody in business, not just moms. Um, okay. So let's move into talking about mom guilt and how to get past this to have a successful business.
Yeah, I believe that, at the beginning, I felt some guilt, for having to say, hey, I need help with this as a mom. So I'm not, I am not putting that, like, I would say that the identity of like the greatest mom ever, like the best mom ever. Um, if I don't do certain things for my kids, or if I ask someone else to do it, or their dad to do it, that doesn't make me any less of a mom or of a good mom. But I really felt like I had to do all these things. Like, these are the things that I'm supposed to be doing for my child. And if I didn't do that, I felt bad. So it took a while for me to get past that. And that's also, things that we have to unlearn, and relearn some and learn new things in place of that belief. So it is a journey for sure, something that I'm still working on. But I feel like we have to, by sharing these stories, I feel like we help other moms, and being transparent on in all places, not on podcast interviews, but also on social media, like sharing more of the things that we struggle with, and that being some of that being the guilt that we have felt or that we feel sometimes when we are working in our business and doing the things that we have to do to create a sustainable business. So yeah, and I don't know what if you've experienced that in your in your years of in your years
Yeah.
of it.
Well, I think every mom has mom guilt. So one of the things that, I kind of focused on is whatever I was doing. If I was a stay-at-home mom, didn't have a business, if I worked out in the corporate world, which I did for years, um, or I ran my own business, there would still be guilt, about something because we're held to such a high standard, and maybe it's ourselves that we hold ourselves to such a high standard. We don't want to make
Yeah.
the same mistakes our parents did, even if they raised us great. We still feel like we
Right.
want to do better than our parents, and we don't want to mess up our kids. But what I'm learning is my kids are all adults now. And I think when they're in their 20s, it's like everything's the parents' fault, like,
Hmm.
and by the time you get to be like in your mid 30s, you figure out, oh, my parents kind of knew a few things. And
Yeah.
it's kind of my own journey too, so, but it's kind of good to have that because then it creates a separation, and you have to
Yeah.
have that separation for people to go off and do their own thing, so,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I think just accepting that there is no way to parent without having some guilt sometimes, but then also to do what I could to realize, oh, I'm feeling guilty. Why am I feeling guilty? And what can I replace
Right.
that with, or what can I do about it that will help me get to a place of inner peace?
Yeah, and that's I think that's great with, like you said, what can I replace that with? Because sometimes, we aim to like remove but not replace. And I think it's really important to do it that way. Like, what other things can we introduce there that are going to be healthier, habits or thoughts? So that's really important to me. That has helped me a lot. And also, like, setting boundaries has been really important for me. My kids are one and a half year old, the 4 year old, and an 11 year old. So with like being able to have the boundaries around like my time, and having other people and being able to ask for help. It was really hard for me to learn to ask for help. And still, obviously sometimes it is hard to still do that. But being more open to asking for help when I needed it, I think that has definitely helped me a lot in my journey.
I love that. Well, I know that you have a free gift that you're offering to people. So tell us what that is.
Yeah, so I have a free training that I had created for your audience, where they can see exactly how they can use or how can they can create content that is going to turn into actual sales. So building trust with your audience. So how to create captions that convert and things like that. Just the whole process, from the way that your profile looks, even your profile picture, your how to optimize those things. And Instagram and Facebook, these social media platforms are always changing. So I definitely kept it to some like principles that can continue to work for you over time. So that is what I'm gifting to you guys.
Yeah, and that link will be on the podcast website page at sherikhoff.com, and you'll be able to click on that link and get that. So also, how can people find you? Like, can you give us your website or the best way to reach you? Maybe is it Instagram, Facebook? Let us know.
So I'm mostly on Instagram, and my handle is at I am Rosa Rodriguez. And my website is iamrosarodriguez.com. And on Facebook, Rosa Rodriguez. On YouTube at I am Rosa Rodriguez as well. So that's where you can find me.
Okay, that's terrific. Well, we've talked about a lot here on this podcast. So, what is the one or two things that you'd like your listeners to come home with today? Like to really remember about you or about what they should be doing for themselves?
Yeah, I want to leave you with, people are going to see you the way that you see yourself. So if you start to see and believe in the thing that you have and your gift, then people are going to start to see that as well. And I think if you remember that and you carry that out throughout your message and through everything that you put out there, then you're going to be okay.
Mm. Wow, that I'm just letting that sink in for people. That's really beautiful. Well, I just want to thank you so much, and thank you to all of our listeners. And no matter where you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Right.
This episode is sponsored by the Spirit Guided Biz Course. You can find out more information at sherikhoff.com. That's SHERIKAYEHOFF.com.